Hi, this is Brooke.
And this is Nikki.
And it's Jerusha!
Yay!
And this is my so-called whatever.
Yay!
Jerusha's here.
She is.
She's our special guest host.
Yeah, we were actually supposed to go to Portland, which is how far away?
A couple hours. It's not quite a couple hours where she is.
Right, but time was not on our side today.
No, it was not.
No.
Let's be honest. Time, it's hard to find time.
It is.
I mean, we all have the same hours in a day. Everybody understands that.
Don't you wish we had more? But you know what? I think even if we had more, there still wouldn't be enough.
You'd always want more.
Yeah.
That is the truth.
That is so true. Like, if you give me $1,000, well, why not 1,500?
That's true. And then we could go on the cruise.
Wow, we need a little bit more than that.
15. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So anyway.
So, Jerusha.
Yes.
You picked the topic.
I did. Since we're all from the same area originally, because we all grew up in the same area, I figured since it's spooky October, I wanted to go with the theme that we could talk about Stephen King.
Yay!
That's awesome. And I should really I'm going to preface right now.
You go for it.
I don't like horror. I've never read a Stephen King book. I had never seen a Stephen King movie until last night.
That was your first Stephen King movie? I'm so sorry.
I've never seen a Stephen King movie.
I made Brooke watch Pet Sematary.
Let me just say real quick. I did watch The Langoliers, but that's different.
Oh, that's different. That wasn't a horror. That wasn't.
Exactly. That was just kind of weird.
And it was kind of cool because, like, it was where I worked.
It was at the airport.
That's
why I watched
here's the baggage carousel.
So, that, like, this is, I'll tell you what, Pet Sematary, couldn't watch the whole thing.
Nikki asked me last night if I had seen it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've watched it twice, and I really would like to sleep tonight, so I'm not going to watch it now, but I think I remember it well enough that we can chat about it.
Considering it probably, like, burns into your brain.
Oh, well, we have a pet cemetery near where I live now, and it's labeled. Oh yeah, it's over by St. Dom's Academy, and it's right across the street, and it's labeled as the pet cemetery. And I run a 5K past it for the past couple of years, and it creeps me out. It makes me run faster because it creeps me out that there's a pet cemetery right next to the road there.
Oh, that is creepy.
Yeah.
So we should talk a little bit about Stephen King and us growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was. If you haven't seen Stephen King's house, go ahead, go online, Google it. There's tons of pictures. It's kind of terrifying when you're really young, especially. Mm-hmm. And we used to have to drive past it to get to my nursery school, and I would hide. Like, my dad said I would just hide my head down because I was so scared, because he's got this big wrought iron fence with, I don't remember.
There's bats on it.
I was going to say there was bats on it, but I didn't know if that was my 4-year-old mind saying there were bats.
No, there are legit bats on. There are legit bats on that fence.
It's kind of a big house, and you never know what's back there.
Right.
And even as a young child, I knew it was kind of a creepy place. And you always see Stephen King and his family, at least when we were younger, out.
Yeah,
They'd just go to the grocery store, and they had box seats at the hockey games, and it just was kind of a normal way of life around there, but everyone else is always so amazed by it.
Right. Like, he was just a common,
he was at all the basketball games at the high school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
he'd read a book.
Yep.
I think that he could legit read a book, and I think he had,
attention. He's all-knowing.
He is all-knowing.
Yep.
Well, he has to be able to multitask. The man writes, thousands of pages in several sittings.
Seriously.
And it's just like, he's so prolific that I think he probably can watch a basketball game, read a book, and probably come up with the plot to his next novel all at the same time.
That's crazy.
That is
true.
The truth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and did you guys, when we were younger, did you guys ever see the guy with the van who thought there was a conspiracy involving Stephen King?
I think I remember that, but I don't.
Like, you say it, and it's familiar. I don't remember it, but it's familiar.
We need to talk about this.
Well, I think, if I remember right, he thought that somehow Stephen King was involved with the shooting of John Lennon.
Yes.
And he would drive a creepy van around downtown Bangor, and, you know, all the parents would shuffle their kids away from him when he drove through. And I remember it from when I was a kid, but I don't remember it super clearly.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't remember it until you just said that.
Yeah.
I feel like we could find something on the internet about that.
We should totally look it up. We should totally, yeah.
I wrote notes of what I wanted to mention, and it says guy with van.
Trick-or-treating. Did you ever go to Stephen King's house trick-or-treating?
I did not.
Oh, no, sorry.
Did you?
No.
They used to get full candy bars, and then they stopped.
Okay, so
that was the
I
rumor.
do believe that he did at one time, but I want to say that when I went, he didn't. And I say this because I think I can remember saying, but I thought I was going to get a king-size candy bar.
I feel like I remember, but it could have just been those that lived on the west side.
Yeah.
Saying, like, well, Stephen King gives out full candy bars. When
I said king size. I think it was because Stephen King. I meant to say full-size candy bars.
Well, maybe he did give out king-size candy bars, because that...
No, I don't think it was
cool.
It was regular size.
Maybe you were the reason that eventually he said that he wasn't going to host trick-or-treating at his house anymore.
This little girl came up, this greedy little girl, wanted a full-size candy bar. She wasn't happy, so I'm not doing it. Not doing it no more.
Yeah. That's funny, because it could be true.
And it's sad because, you know what, he gives so much to our community.
He gives so much.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane. Mm-hmm. It's insane. I mean, he gave so much to the high school. He gave so much to just Bangor in general, the library.
The baseball field complex.
So we have this amazing baseball field called Mansfield. The Senior League World Series has been held here for years. It's no longer here.
No, but anyway, they do a lot for the community. They're awesome people and a really nice family.
All of them.
Yep.
And I love that they're still here. You know, they still consider Maine their home.
This is home.
Yeah.
Because I thought for a while, after he had his accident, I thought for sure he wouldn't come back.
That was awful.
That was awful.
Yeah.
God, I forgot about that.
That was really bad. But he looks great.
Yeah, he does.
Have you seen him lately?
Not in person, just on TV.
Well, I haven't seen him in person in years.
It's probably been a couple of years for me.
Oh, you know what? I think I saw him at Shaw's.
Yeah.
But it was just like...
See? Just at the grocery store.
Like,
just like a regular old person.
Oh, there's Mr. King.
Yep.
How's it going?
So, anyway.
Yeah. So, what about you? Do you have any other stories about Stephen King?
I always liked it. I mean, I started reading Stephen King way before I should have, probably, because, you know, like, my parents were really into the books, so they were just around the house. So I can't remember. I read Carrie when I was pretty young. Yeah, it was a little, it you know, it got me interested in his books, but I don't think I was quite old enough to read it, to figure out all of the pieces to it. But I think what creeps me out the most about his books and his movies is because I'm from Maine, everything is kind of based here. You know, like Carrie started from when he was a teacher at Hamden Academy, and Pet Sematary was from the Pet Cemetery in Orrington. And like, there's all these connections to the area. So then you get super creeped out because you know exactly where he's talking about.
Exactly. I have to say, I read Pet Sematary in 7th grade, and I started it in the winter, and I can very clearly remember stopping it and finishing it, like, towards the end of the spring, or rereading it, because it's so dark. It was just different. It was different than the other Stephen King books that I had read. And I think at that time I had gotten into a lot of his short stories, which I love.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah.
And Stand By Me comes from one of those short stories. It's in his. If you haven't read his books, you really should, because they're so much different than the movies, and there's so much more you can take out of them. I mean, the movies are great too, but the books are different.
Yeah. Well, the short stories, my 7th grade teacher read us some of the short stories, Mr. Burby, and gave me a distinct fear of monkeys with cymbals because of it. You know, those little toy monkeys that flap the cymbals. Well, there's a story in Skeleton Crew of it, and now my family will terrorize me with those when they see them out. Like, we'll be in a toy store and they'll go, "You like this monkey?" And they'll wind it up. And I'm like, "No, I can't."
I think I read, there's Nightmares and Dreamscapes. That was a newer one. And then there was Night Shift. Is that a collection of short stories?
I think so. I think it's Night Shift and Skeleton Crew, and then like 4 Past Midnight. There's a couple of them. There's quite a few
seasons.
of
them. I can't remember what it was, but I read that too. Like I said, I really liked his short stories, and that was because I feel like I could feel good about finishing them because I had a hard time reading. My attention was not the greatest reading books.
Thing. Yeah.
So I felt good that I could go through and read a story and be like, all right, cool.
It's easy to consume.
That. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, I did some research on Pet Sematary. I thought I might share that with you all because I watched it. I was probably 11.
Yeah.
And I had nightmares for weeks. I mean, for weeks. My dad was pretty excited. We rented the movie. You know, it was like a big, we're going to watch Pet Sematary.
An event.
Right. Here we go. Let's watch it. Oh, man. So, here are some of the things that are from the book and from the movie that you may or may not know. Jerusha, I think knows.
I might know some of it, but I don't know that I know everything.
I think you do.
About it.
I know one thing.
What do you know?
Can I tell you the one thing I know?
What's that?
Because I watched it last night for the first time. Couldn't watch the whole thing.
Yep.
I stopped it at a certain point. Well, I didn't stop it. It kept playing. I didn't pay attention. I looked away. And then this morning I had to have my husband, because he's seen it a million times. Mm-hmm. And he watched it last night again. Mm-hmm. I had to have him pretty much, tell me what happened at the end. Because, I couldn't. But the little girl, Ellie, I was like, I know her from somewhere. Where do I know her? And I couldn't figure it out. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, she was on Ghost Rider.
And you know what else?
No.
She's a twin.
Who's her twin?
She has an identical twin sister.
Is she an actress too?
I don't know if she was in Ghost Rider.
Oh.
So in the movie, Ellie is played by twins, but Gage is not.
Interesting.
And Gage was younger than 3 years old.
He
was so talented. And I get Mary Lambert, I believe, is the director of this movie.
Yeah.
And she was famous she had done Madonna music videos for Madonna.
Which is really cool.
And
different.
It's very different to think, they took her into this. And one of the big things about this movie is that Stephen King insisted, number one, that he did the screenplay, which doesn't normally happen.
Yeah.
From what I gather, maybe. I mean,
I don't think it normally does. I think that usually, you'll see in the beginning of a movie, adapted by...
Right.
Adapted for screen or whatever by so-and-so.
And so he insisted that he did the screenplay for this.
Which I think is excellent.
I think it's so cool. And his second thing was that it be filmed in Maine. Now, the problem with that is Maine is very expensive, I guess, is an expensive location to be filmed in Maine.
Why is that?
Because it's hard to get here.
Yeah, well, and the taxes from the state on actually doing the business in the state.
That's what I was wondering. A lot
of the time when you go places you see Toronto is the background for a lot of movies, and it's because they make a lot of breaks for companies to come there and give them business. But here in Maine, we don't make breaks for anybody, so you're still going to have to pay the big fees for it.
Yay, Maine.
Yeah.
Why do we live here?
Because it's beautiful.
In the
It's
summertime.
In the summertime. The winter can go F itself.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can.
I hate
And
winter.
all those leaf peepers that are here right now, they can just go away too.
Yeah.
The
We
leaves
don't
are
see
beautiful,
we don't see
though.
them much up here.
Yeah, that's true.
We kind of do, though. You'd be surprised.
Really?
Try to rent a vehicle this weekend.
I was going to say they'd fly up here all the time.
Yeah. Try to rent a vehicle right now. You can't.
Not going to happen.
Nope.
So there was a documentary that I ended up purchasing, which was amazing, and it's called Unearthed and Untold: The Path to Pet Sematary.
That's cool.
It was fantastic. So honestly, it's on YouTube. You can go and buy it digitally on YouTube, and it's $3.99 to rent. I ended up buying it just because I'll watch it again.
Yeah. I kind of want to watch it.
You can totally watch it. It's great. It was fantastic. And so a lot of this information I got from that, but not all of it, because I had a lot of information that I had researched before I watched it, and then it was like, okay, this documentary says that's
I kind of
true.
brought
I'm
it
gonna
together.
use that.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is that Stephen King was working as a professor at the University of Maine, and he ended up renting a house in Orrington, which is kind of weird if you think about it, because Orrington's kind of far away from Orono.
And there's no direct way to get from Orrington to Orono.
Exactly. It's like, it's Route 15, and it's not
Like $3.95 to $95.
right. It's not on the way. So I was kind of thinking, why Orrington? Why not Brewer? Why not Veazey? Why not
Orono?
Orono? Well, Orono was always, back in the 70s, was pretty expensive to live in Orono.
Still is.
Yeah, it still is.
Yeah, and actually back then, $3.95 and the Veterans Bridge and all that didn't exist either.
That's true.
Oh, there
That
was no $3.95 back then?
No.
Oh.
No. Because
No.
I remember marching in the parade that opened up the Veterans Bridge on $3.95.
I remember when that bridge opened.
I remember
was that when
standing on
$3.95
it.
opened?
Yeah.
Oh.
There was a different route right where it is in Herman. Like it had different interchanges and names, but it wasn't the official.
It wasn't
$3.95 still had. Yeah.
Right. So this whole book was written from an experience that took place in a matter of seconds. Owen was out front, and Route 15 is super busy. And the reason why it's busy is because we had a paper mill in Bucksport. It's no longer there. It was Champion, and then it was something else.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's no longer there. Because that was really the bread and butter of Bucksport.
My grandfather worked there for his whole life.
And my grandfather was he was a truck driver.
Yeah.
He would haul wood chips. He'd actually haul wood chips everywhere, mostly, but he'd mostly go to Costigan, which is am I saying that right? Costigan?
Costigan.
I'm saying it in the Maine accent that Costigan.
Yeah, you are.
Costigan. And that's where he would go. He would go like Western Maine.
Yeah.
But that Route 15 was heavily trafficked by paper trucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
And they they're not going to be able to stop.
Well,
It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So his son Owen darted out, and he grabbed him. And actually, you know what? I don't know if it was Owen or not, for sure, but it was one of his sons, because he has a couple
sons, couple daughters.
grabbed him, and in that instant, that's when he came up with the plot of Pet Sematary.
That's crazy.
Which is kind of crazy.
It is.
Ugh.
So when he wrote this, he was kind of going through something, or had just gotten over going through something. It was really dark, and some people had read it and said, nah, you don't want to, no, this is not good. And he decided there was some kind of publishing arrangement eventually, and he ended up publishing it, which is great, because we wouldn't have the movie Pet Sematary.
Right.
And wouldn't have something that depicts Maine.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat to see all kinds of things we see all the time
It is.
in a movie. Another thing that had happened is that his daughter had a cat because they pay tribute to it in the movie.
Yeah.
In the Pet Sematary in the movie. That whole scene where Judd Crandall said, I think your cat's over here in the yard. That really happened. Her daughter lost the cat. So, but didn't get buried in the Micmac burial ground.
That's good. Yikes.
And the Pet Sematary really did exist. There really was a pet cemetery that the kids had come together and built because of Route 15.
Yeah.
It just happens.
That happened to a couple of my cat, not on Route 15.
Right.
Center Street. So,
did you have a pet cemetery?
I did not have a pet. Well,
Your backyard?
Yeah, actually. We did have a little pet cemetery, but it was mostly fish. I wouldn't flush a fish. I would have to put them in a baggie.
Have a whole, like, commitment,
I had a whole thing.
like a ceremony.
I'd put them in a baggie. I had a thing. And you wrap them in tinfoil, and then I would take a Sharpie and write their name on it and the year they died.
So if somebody
and bury it.
has metal detector, they're gonna unearth.
Well, they've put a fence up since then, so they probably dug up the fish.
Those fish came up.
Yeah.
The ghosts of the fish are gonna come back.
Fishy. Most of them were fishy. So I had like fishy 1, fishy 2, fishy 3, fishy 4.
Yeah. We had our gerbils.
Aww.
For some reason, we had some issues with some of our gerbils, so they were always buried in the yard.
Oh.
I never had any gerbils.
I had hamsters.
I had stupid birds. I didn't like birds. I'm not a bird person. I think I explained this. I'm not a bird person, but yet my parents had birds.
Did they really?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
We had a parakeet. I hated that bird. And then I got one that I liked named Tweety. He didn't last long. I found him feet up.
Oh.
In the morning in the bird cage.
That's so sad. Did you bury him?
No, I don't remember.
Your dad probably chucked him in the woods.
He probably did. He probably took him by the feet and threw him in the back. Ashes to ashes. That's what he would say. Oh, good God.
Oh, gosh.
So, the movie was released in 1989.
I thought that it was released before that.
I thought so too.
Like, I don't know why, like, in my mind, I thought that the movie was more like 86. I don't know why. Never saw it before. I don't know why, but I did. And also, I'm just going to say right now, real quick.
Yeah.
I forget the dad's name. The guy.
Lewis.
Is that his name? The doctor?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's hot.
Oh, hello. He played Elvis Presley in that series. Do you remember that?
God. He did?
Oh, yes, he did.
I was like,
how you doing?
Yeah, hello. Like,
you know what you did.
What's up with you?
Yeah. No kidding.
Where is he today?
I don't know, but he still looks amazing.
Does he? I need to see this.
He does. He still looks amazing.
Okay.
I think he plays in various Lifetime movies. Possibly.
I would watch all of them.
I loved the Elvis miniseries that he did. It was amazing. So, I said that it was required to be filmed in Maine. Yeah, I said that.
Yeah.
And can we just talk about... I know Brooke didn't see it, but can we talk about how terrifying Zelda was? Because that is the part that I can't deal with.
Yeah.
Rachel! And did you know that was played by a man?
No.
Yes, they wanted something to look off. That is what Mary Lambert said.
Well, there you go.
You just didn't think a 16-year-old girl or 13-year-old girl could do it. So they ended up having a younger, 18 I think it was actually, play Zelda. And that is a creepy part. Creepy.
Yeah.
When she comes back, spoiler alert, when they're in
For
Chicago.
a movie that's, almost 30 years old.
Yeah, right. Another part that was really, really bothered me was when Missy Dandridge hung herself. That looked real to me. When her body just went limp.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I didn't know that happened.
In the very beginning of the movie, so there's Missy Dandridge.
Yeah.
And she comes in and she ends up having cancer and she pinned she said like, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it or something like that.
I can't remember that.
And she hung herself and her body like twitched.
Did I block that out?
I don't know because
or did I do that? I may have done this.
That was real.
I don't remember that. Oh.
She was helping out the family or something.
Yeah.
So the house that they filmed Pet Sematary, the Creed house, is beautiful. It's a beautiful house. Across the street, they had just a smaller house, and they actually built a facade.
Yeah. Facade.
Yeah.
On top of it to make it look like it was the Crandall house.
Oh.
So they built a whole thing around it, and it legit looked like there was that house was
Like,
there.
that was there. Like,
yeah.
that was real.
It was really good.
Wow.
They
that's
did a
cool.
really amazing. And they had a set that was in Ellsworth, I believe, that they had recreated from the house that was in Hancock or Ellsworth. And everything was the same, identical. It was amazing. The paint was worn on the door the same way.
Yeah, that's
It was
cool.
amazing. So we knew a couple people that were in the movie.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Not like well, but we went to high school with one of them, and one of them was a teacher at our high school.
Right. And I didn't, I think I remember the teacher.
Mrs. Hirsch.
Yeah, I remember hearing that, but obviously I never seen
Actually,
it.
she wasn't in the movie. She did all of the groundskeeping, which was a lot of work. If you watch this documentary, it was a lot of work. It's really neat to see how much work goes into.
I think that's neat. That's why I kind of want to see it, because I like that stuff. It's the movie. That's
right.
hard.
It's the scary stuff you don't want to see.
Yeah.
The shoe when it bounces on the street, I can't.
I didn't see that part, but that was right about when I was like, I'm done.
They used a real truck driver, too.
Like a real one?
Yep, he's from Maine. And he was singing the Ramones song. The Ramones actually created a song, The Pet Cemetery. It's a song that they created for the movie.
I don't wanna be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again.
I don't remember it, but
I don't know what it was.
So another big place. All the airport scenes were filmed at Bangor International.
That's cool.
The funeral for Gage was actually shot at St. Joseph's Church in Brewer. No, isn't it St. Teresa's?
I don't know.
Are you Catholic?
No.
Okay. We always call that St. Teresa's, but they said in the documentary it was called St. Joseph's, but maybe I don't know. It's in Brewer. It's right on Main Street.
Yeah.
So they shot that there, and I think it's harder to watch this movie now that you have kids.
Yes.
I really feel like it was a lot easier for me to watch before I had kids.
There's a lot of things that I can't watch because I have kids.
Right.
Kid.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
I'm looking up the church.
And there were like 7 cats that they used in the movie that each had a specific task. You're the one that meows this way, and
you're the one that hisses and wants to go after people.
Oh my gosh.
You're going to be the cuddly one, and you're going to be the one that sticks to the ground. No, just kidding. That was a prop.
You're going to be the undead one, and
right. The Micmac burial ground was in Blue Hill, I think. I feel like it was. Maybe it wasn't. That I did not find information on. But I feel like I know where that burial ground. It's not really a burial ground. It was a blueberry field.
Yeah.
Blueberry fields up here look kind of weird.
They do.
They're kind of rocky and flat.
Yeah.
And they just look really weird.
I think they look creepy.
It's all low bush, and it's not the pretty things that you picture when you think of a blueberry bush. They're like just not. They're very low and they're very scrubby.
Right.
And then when they're not blossoming, it just looks so barren.
It does. It looks like a fire went through or something. Mm-hmm. That's all I can think about. Well, don't they burn it? They do. They burn it, don't they? So that it grows a certain way? Yeah. I feel like they burn it, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. Maybe I should look that up before I talk
before
about
you
this.
light a blueberry field on fire.
Don't light blueberry fields on fire and say that's my fault.
Well, and Pet Sematary hits all of the creepy horror things. You know, you've got animals, you've got young children, you've got all of those things that make everyone skin crawl.
Right,
all in one movie.
You've got the old man that you love. That, spoiler alert, gets killed by Gage. Mm-hmm. That was freaky. And seriously, Miko Hughes, are you okay from that? Because
he is.
That was frightening.
I think, I feel like when I was looking at stuff, that they said that a lot of the stuff that they filmed with the kids, they filmed it so they weren't actually doing the things that they were doing, and then they would use stand-ins or dummies or something like that so that they could not
right.
not
scar the
traumatized.
children for life.
Yeah. The only one I saw when his hand comes up out of the grave, he got dirt in his eyes. Miko did.
Yeah.
Because that's really his hand coming up.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, and Stephen King movies love to have a hand coming out of a grave. It's kind of a piece of a lot of the different movies.
Yes. Pascal. He didn't quite creep me out, but he kind of did. But
He creeped me out at first.
I said, Lewis, what are you thinking? Listen to Pascal.
He
Yeah.
knows.
He creeped me out at first, like that for like the very beginning, like he creeped me out. But then as he came around, I was like, he's not like I felt like he was good.
Right.
And I couldn't I didn't see it through. We know this.
Right.
But I felt like he wasn't like he didn't freak me out. It's kind of gross, but he didn't freak me out.
Do you remember the phone call? Daddy's gonna do something really bad.
Yes.
Oh.
Can I just tell you something since you said that?
What?
There were a few times that I was like, you know what? And I don't this is going to sound terrible. I'm just going to say this is going to sound terrible. But when I was watching this last night, I looked over to my husband. I said, "You know what? If she opens her mouth again, I'm going to punch her in the face." It was like nails on a chalkboard. I just couldn't stand her. But I also couldn't stand her on Ghost Rider.
Oh, there you go. Must just be her.
It bugged me. And she was a little girl. I would never punch a little girl in the face. Ever.
Except for that little girl you talk about.
Mary?
Yes.
Oh, Mary's a whole other story.
Should we talk about Mary tonight?
Mary was my imaginary friend.
But she wasn't
imaginary.
We'll just leave that there.
Wow, you just dangle that out to really get your listeners to tune back in.
Yes.
No, and she was a bee.
Mary always did it.
Mary wore a prairie girl dress and she had 2 braids and blunt cut bangs. And she was a bitch.
Have you ever seen Mary again?
No, I haven't seen Mary since I was a kid.
Okay.
But I can see her in my mind.
And
I can close my eyes and I can see
was
her.
a bee.
She was mean. She was a rotten, mean girl.
Didn't she, break your crayons?
She dumped them out all over the floor.
Thanks, Mary.
I
And your mom would come in, Brooke, I just bought that 64 set crayon pack for you with the sharpener.
And if you knew me, you didn't know me. You didn't know me when I was that young. But if you knew me, my crayons were like a prized possession. I didn't even want to use them. I bet she used the metallic ones, didn't she? Oh, I'm sure she did.
Because those metallic ones are the ones you saved.
She probably broke them.
Oh, she probably did. She probably got them all hot in her clammy hands and broke them in two.
She was mean.
I
know it sounds ridiculous.
It does not sound ridiculous because the way that you tell the story,
she was really mean.
I've never
to me.
seen Mary.
She made fun of me.
What would she say to you?
She just was mean.
Well, now you might as well just tell the story.
I think we've kind of told that.
Yeah. So what would she say?
Just, I don't know, mean, you're stupid, mean things. She was mean. You're
Like,
dead.
Oh.
But you didn't know that.
No. Mary,
you're dead.
But I didn't know,
was she? But was she?
I don't know what she was.
I didn't have an imaginary friend.
I totally
Jerusha, did you?
I tried to, which sounds ridiculous too.
No, it totally
I remember
doesn't because I wanted one,
and I just couldn't. I couldn't conjure one up. I
just felt like I didn't have an imagination because I didn't have an imaginary friend.
My imaginary friend, I would not have made.
You're
up
like,
in my
Mary,
mind.
I want you to go away.
I did want her to go away. She was so mean. And when I say
nice dress, Mary.
But the thing is, I loved her dress.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry.
When I was a kid, it was like Little House on the Prairie.
I'm going to say right now, Mary, I'm sorry. I've said everything. I did not mean anything. Please don't show up tonight.
No, it was like Little House on the Prairie. She wore it was like a floral dress. It was probably brownish floral. Just past her knees.
That's so incredible to me.
She had an apron, a white apron over her dress.
Did she have the boots that you had to use the hook to button?
I don't remember shoes, but I distinctly remember the braids.
What color hair did she have?
Brown.
So that's really it. That's all I have from Pet Sematary. Cool movie.
Maybe one day I can watch the end.
Nah, it's all right.
There's a lot of things that die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about all the death.
There's fire.
I saw some fire.
Yeah.
Like in the reflection of the window
Yeah.
when I was covering my eyes, looking
Yeah.
the other way, and I was like, I'm good.
You're just like, we're good with us.
Yeah. I'm signing off.
See,
This is-
when my mom watches things that she thinks she might be scared by, she won't even just cover her eyes. She has to put a pillow over it just in case the scary things will like creep around her fingers and into her eyes. She's got to bury her entire face.
Hey, I
That's
feel
actually
that.
really good thinking.
I feel it. I feel it.
That makes perfect sense to me.
Do you want to hear a movie that is not really scary, but freaks me out for other reasons?
Yes, I do.
The Others. That is how I truly believe. I feel like that sometimes happens.
Yeah, that creeped me out when I
I
watched it.
saw that movie. I don't remember it that well. I saw it in the movie theater, so it's been a while.
Basically, spoiler alert, if you don't want to know what The Others is about, fast forward this.
For like a minute or
Yeah.
something.
So basically what it is these two kids were killed by their mother, Nicole Kidman,
Yeah.
and they're dead
Yes.
in the whole movie.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But
I
you
didn't
don't,
really like. I didn't really like the
as
movie
a viewer, you don't know they're dead.
Right.
until the end.
Until the
Right.
end. They do a seance.
Yeah. I recall not really liking the movie. Like, I didn't get it. Like, not that I didn't get it, but I was like, oh.
Well, probably because it was shortly after The Sixth Sense, and you're like, okay, we've
I
already
never
gone
saw
through
The
this.
Sixth Sense.
Are you kidding me? That movie is amazing.
No, I
did
shouldn't
not-
say. I've seen bits and pieces here and there over the, like, since then, but I hadn't seen it at that point.
I had no idea he was dead. Another spoiler alert. No idea.
I knew he was because
Because everybody told you.
I mean, you just knew.
But we went and saw Blair Witch when we didn't know that was not real.
Yes, we did go see that. We didn't know
That
it was not real.
That freaked me.
That freaked
I kept
me out.
saying, this can't be real. They wouldn't allow this to happen. The government would shut it down. I remember going into Lids and having that conversation with Steph and you
Yeah.
and saying, the government would shut it down.
That movie was crazy.
Yeah.
I remember.
But oh yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, the one movie that freaked me out probably the most that I can think of right now is Signs.
I don't know. Let's not talk about that.
Oh yeah, because it has one of the things you don't like in it.
I don't talk about that.
It freaks me
Nope.
right the frig out.
Nope. We don't talk about that on the show.
I saw it in the theater.
Ever. You can do your own show and talk about it.
I saw it in the theater, and driving home was hard.
Well, and a lot of those movies, like the ones that were the first of their kind, were really cool to see, like The Sixth Sense with the twist ending, because we were talking about it, my husband and I were talking about it because they're coming out with another Saw movie, and we just looked at each other and we're like, how can there be another Saw movie? Don't we already know how all this is going to end?
Right.
But then we were talking about it and we're like, that first one really scared people. He thought, I didn't. But, that kind of creeped people out. And but my experience, when I went to see the first Scream
Yeah.
in the movie theaters, and I thought it was great, but it really freaked me out. And my friends dropped me off at home, and one of them called me and did you want to play a little game? And I was like, it must have been maybe my junior year in high school, probably, maybe even my senior year. And I had to sleep on the floor of my parents' room that night. I was so...
And then you were no longer friends with them.
It just scared me so bad because I was already so hyped up about it. And then the phone had to ring and I was like, I can't deal with this. And I slept on the floor of my parents' room at 17 some odd years old.
No, that movie scared me. I remember
Yeah.
the first one, yes. And then as you get 2 and 3 and
You're
it's
just like, this is kind of funny.
like we know where this is going.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We know who's going to kill her. Everybody's going to die. Everybody's going to die. Who's going to be the killer? But you know what? I really liked Scream Queens.
Me too.
I do have to say
Yeah.
I like it because it was making fun of all
was
of that,
funny.
really. It was funny.
Right.
It was funny, but also kind
And
of
it
like
had
gross.
it had Jerry O'Connell on it too.
Yes, it did.
That was all about him.
How you doing?
Hey. And it had Taylor Lautner in it.
How you doing?
Team Jacob. No, I was not into any of the vampire movies.
Oh, I was.
Oh, remember when you and Darcy hijacked my laptop? I was working for the Bangor Daily. Do you remember that?
No.
You put my laptop in the trunk and you said we're going to the movies.
I don't remember that.
No. You didn't say we're going to the movies. You said I went over to Darcy's house and we watched the first Twilight movie.
Yes, I remember that.
Because you put my laptop.
Because I knew you'd like it.
You were like, I'm going to force
like
you.
it.
I loved it.
I knew you would like it. I knew
Hook,
it.
line, and sinker.
I knew it. Like, I just
But
knew.
I protested that.
Yes, you did.
For a very long time. They all read the books and I said, you guys are stupid.
You did. You were
stupid
like
Twilight readers.
Exactly. But I said you just have to see the movie. Just watch the movie.
And I said, oh, you guys making fun of me when I liked Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but oh no, now it's cool to like vampires.
I don't know that it was ever cool to like vampires.
Oh, shut up.
But
Buffy the Vampire Slayer was amazing.
I like Buffy. I like
have
the
it
movie.
all on DVD.
I like the movie. I didn't watch the show.
Jerusha watched the show, so her and I are buds.
I watched the show faithfully. I have it on DVD. I rewatched
Me too.
it. I could probably sing most of the songs from the musical episode.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that because I don't like musicals.
Yeah. Oh. Well, see, now we can't be friends. It's over now.
But here's
No.
the thing. I like, okay, I don't like musicals, but one of my favorite movies is Hairspray.
So isn't
Yeah, I know. I don't.
You only like certain musicals.
I guess. And I love The Wizard of Oz. That's kind of a musical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
What's wrong with me?
Totally.
You don't like hokey musicals.
That's exactly right. I didn't like The Sound of Music. Sorry.
I never saw
Are
it.
we going to lose our fan base?
I never saw
We
it.
don't have fans.
I actually may have...
We
no,
don't have
you're
fans,
on the
we have-
phone with a fan. Come
have friends.
on.
We have friends.
We have
We have friends.
So
Fan base.
I said...
All right. Well, do you want to wrap this up?
Let's wrap it up.
All right.
So
It's been real.
it has been real fun.
It has been.
It's been so fun to have you on.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
It has been awesome to be a guest
And we'll have to have you on again, like in
definitely.
person.
Yeah.
in person
Yeah.
so that you can
We'll get
come
this
to
to
the
work.
big city.
Right? The big old city of Portland.
So, do we have any housekeeping or anything?
We have. Oh, there's been some podcasts I've been listening to.
Let's shut them out.
Decomposition podcast.
Yes, I need to listen to that.
Okay. Can I just tell you?
Please
It's
do.
amazing. And he ended up, and you have to listen to this, Jerusha, if you like this. So this podcast, the Decomposition podcast, I believe that's what it's called.
I'm going to subscribe right now.
Okay. He breaks down songs,
So cool.
like, and they go through the meaning of the songs. They did, one of my favorite ones is She's Like the Wind. That I sang last week. He's done, like, I sang 3 songs in the last episode that he's done on the podcast. And it's just a really great podcast. I really like it.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at it right now. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to be careful where I listen to it because I know I'll just be sitting there singing along. You know, like I see, he did Abracadabra.
Oh, yeah. He did Party All the Time.
Oh my gosh. I see that right here.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Subscribe.
And he has a
Boing.
really good one coming up, but I'm not allowed to say who it is.
That's cool.
But you guys will both love it.
That's
Oh.
cool.
And maybe if we get on his good side, we can do a New Kids on the Block one.
That'd be amazing.
All right.
So cool.
Thank you, Jerusha.
Thank you so much.
You.
Yes.
And find us on Twitter. At so-called whatever.
And Facebook.
Instagram. My so-called
Join
whatever.
the Facebook group. It's a lot of fun.
Yes. Thank
so
you.
So much fun.
And
if you want to donate to our Patreon, you go for it.
And if you don't want to, you don't have to.
Right, but you can send us an iTunes review.
That would be great.
That helps us a lot.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We love those. Thank you so much for those that have reviewed us. And
We got some more. Some new ones.
I know, I saw.
So,
we'll be shouting those out.
yep.
So,
All right.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Sometimes that is better.
First I played with Dad, then Mommy came, and I played with Mommy. We played, Daddy. We had an awful good time. Now I want to play with you.